Hi everyone, Debbie Richter here from Burke Centre Properties. Today we're here with Angela from Mindworks. Thank you, Angela, for your time and having us here.
Absolutely.
We're here to find out a little bit more about your business. When did you know you wanted to be a teacher, and what made you switch from teaching into tutoring?
My earliest memory is of wanting to be a teacher. In fact, I got the purpose of the 3-year-old preschool graduation confused in my mind, and when I walked across the stage and got my 3-year-old graduation certificate. So at that moment, I thought I had been selected to be the teacher and I had met my life's ambition at the age of 3. I was very upset to get off the stage and discover that that was not, in fact, a teaching certificate. So I had to work a little bit harder from that moment on to get the real teaching certificate. So I came up through Fairfax County schools. I went to Cherry Run Elementary School, Robinson High School, and then I shot down to UVA and got my bachelor's in biology and my master's in teaching. And I was delighted to come back to Fairfax County and teach biology at McLean High School. And then I would tutor all afternoon and evening. So I decided to switch full-time to tutoring. And here we are 6,000 SAT students later, and I've had the opportunity to teach a lot of kids. So it's still my dream. I'm still doing what I always wanted to do, which was to teach high schoolers, but instead of teaching them grammar, reading, and math through the world of biology, I'm doing it through the world of SAT.
And that's a crucial part into getting into the higher education and all.
It's also a really cool time to be a part of a student's life because it's difficult. They're trying to make decisions that are going to affect the rest of their life, and they have a lot of voices in their ears. And it's nice for them to have somebody that they can go to and say, okay, well, here are the things that I've heard. Can you help me kind of straighten this out? So not only are we teaching them the skills and the strategy that they need along with the content to be successful in the SAT, but we're also serving as mentors at a pretty important time in their life.
That's straight up, because we had 2 kids who came and enjoyed Angela's services here, and she really gave them a shot in the arm with confidence, and also really helped them to not be so afraid of this big scary test.
And what is so cool about your kids, and I find this among many families, is what they have in common is they're both delightful and I adored them. But what they don't have in common at all is how they learn, how they reach their goals. And so it's always really neat for me to look at kids in the same family, just like my own children, and go, gosh, how are you guys even related? You're so different. So we like being able to individualize even very different siblings within the same family. We like to be able to provide exactly what that student needs to be successful. We don't really look at it as a cookie cutter approach, which I think maybe some of the national chains do.
Yes.
We're just teachers who love to teach. And we won't put more than 8 students in a classroom. And I think when a student's in a classroom of 30 other students and all of the ability levels are different, it's very easy to lose a student because you're either teaching too fast or too slow, both of which will completely eliminate a student from paying attention. So by putting students in these small 8-person classes, we're really able to group students by strength, which is a fancy way of saying by weakness, which means we get to slow down in the areas that they need more help with, and we don't have to belabor the stuff that they're already doing successfully. So it really feels good to students. They notice a difference. They notice that they can't put their finger on what feels right, but it seems like every question in the room that's asked is a question that they themselves had.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the tutors and your staff. What kind of characteristics do you look for?
So interesting. Students have many different teaching types that they respond to. And so at first I thought, okay, well, I need like a Mary Poppins character, and I need like a firecracker character, and I need a drill sergeant for the kids that like that. But what I discovered is when I was interviewing teachers, the teachers that I liked the most were chameleons. They would respond. This kid needs Mary Poppins. This kid needs a drill sergeant. This kid needs a firecracker. This kid needs a combination of all 3. So even though the teaching staff, and there are 20 of us up here doing SAT prep together, they're so different. But what they have in common is their amazing ability to read the student and figure out exactly what that student needs. It would be difficult to do in a classroom of 30, but when it's only 8 kids, you really get to know them. Yeah. And you really get to understand what each individual student needs to be successful.
I think that's the magic behind Angela's philosophy here, because she does really reach each individual kid, which is not easy to do.
It's not easy to do, and I think maybe there are a lot of places that think, you know, I'll just try to teach SAT prep, and absolutely there are people who are good at math and reading and grammar. We've all had professors who are brilliant and have zero ability to teach the material.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's the minimum requirement that they're high school teachers. At that point, they need to be able to make the material come alive, which is no small feat because it's standardized tests.
So what kind of services do you offer here?
So Mindworks has two areas. Our largest area is the SAT and ACT prep, and we offer courses for each of those tests. Then we have in-home tutoring, K through 12, where our tutors will actually go to our clients' homes and help them with 5th grade reading, 10th grade Spanish, 11th grade science. So that's really neat too. So the two programs work very well together in supporting student success. And I think one of the things that makes that magical is that I'm not the appropriate teacher for a 5th grader. That's a very different set of skills, which I honor by sending those kids 5th grade teachers. My skill set as a high school teacher doesn't transmit. And by putting teachers in situations that they love, I think their energy is just infectious. I think the kids really pick up on it.
And there is a lot of energy flying around the room for sure. We know that. She has great stories and all the kids love them. So you mentioned something about servicing the 6,000th student. What was it like to teach that many kids?
It is the coolest thing in the world. I can't tell you how many amazing stories we've had to come out of these 6,000 students. Everywhere I go, I run into someone that I've taught. I've taught my classmates' children. I've taught my high school lacrosse coaches' children. I've taught my daughter's high school lacrosse coaches' children. One family, we've had 15 of the 19 cousins. The families joke that at the very end they're gonna make me a huge plaque with pictures of all 19 students from that one family.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just cool. It's just really neat to see them grow and to thrive. And I love going to the mall because I'm constantly getting these great tackle hugs from students that were like, I was your favorite, right? And I always say yes. And then they get to update me on what they're doing. And it's just really, really neat. My dream is to teach a student's child. So got to get a couple more years in the business before they're at an age to do that. But I really think it's neat how many people I've gotten to meet through
How long has Mindworks been around?
We went official with Mindworks in this location in 2007. I hired my first co-teacher, Allison McCow. I'm so lucky that she was the one that I hired because she cares as much as I do. And so in the beginning, it was just the two of us trying to service as many students as we could. And then we got bigger and we got bigger. But I do remember that first 2007 where I thought, wow, we have really taken a chance on this. And I have to credit my husband for saying, you can do this.
Yeah.
This is what you were born to do. And I don't think without that push I would have.
Yeah.
I just never thought big like this because I never thought I could find other teachers that cared as much as I did. And so finding that first teacher really just set us on this cool trajectory to be able to teach this many kids.
That's fantastic. So what can people expect when they sign up?
We walk them through the process from start to finish. There is a lot of information out there about the SAT and the ACT, and most of it's wrong. And some of it I even believed 5,500 kids ago, but as a science teacher, I've graphed and charted every student, all of their success, and we look at what works, not just what we think might work, but what has actually worked according to the data. And so those are the recommendations that we make to families. There are many ways to be successful, but there are only few ways to be successful many times with many students. Some of what we do is not necessarily conventional wisdom, but when I show parents the stats, they go, that's a great idea. That's exactly the plan we want to do. So that's what we recommend. We sit down with families and we walk them through, here's what the second half of junior year and the first half of senior year are going to look like. And even when students are finished with our first 8-week course, we continue to support them until they hit submit on their applications because we want to make sure that parents walk through this process with confidence. It's daunting.
And I remember getting that first set of dates, I think, that you had, the hurdles that were coming up, and it did reassure me, because I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what's coming around the corner
Yeah.
the first time we
Yeah.
had to go through it, and it was really
Especially
great.
for parents
to
who are
know.
going through it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody who's been through it 6,000 times.
Yes, and what to look out for, and when this is going to happen, and what you guys were going to do. So that was very calming.
Yeah.
So, Angela, do you have anything new coming up?
Now, our SAT students, many of them are in college, getting ready to go to graduate school. What test do they need to take?
GRE.
The GRE. So we've for years done individual tutoring, for our students as they come back, but 2019 will be the first year where we actually start operating a class, just like the SAT class.
Wow.
We've already got kids on the wait list. We're excited to do it. It's very similar to the SAT, but they've been away from the material for so long that we're excited to see all of our students 4 years older.
Definitely, there's a real love for what she does
If I
here.
won the lottery, I would keep doing it.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today, Angela. It's been great getting to know about Mindworks.
Thank you for having me.
To learn more about Burke Centre Properties and other great businesses, subscribe to our newsletter at parkbench.com/Burke.